Okay, it's Nick Dutch back on the camera yet again. Now, I recently saw a YouTube user who did a video and he came out with his opinion. And I would like to, I suppose, respond with my opinion too. This is the first thing that he said.
Psychics are the scum of the earth.
What? The scum of the earth? You mean worse than murderers, rapists, adulterers, genocidal dictators? I mean, come on. You really aren't looking at life in proportion and in perspective, are you? Okay, next he starts talking about this TV show that he watches on a Saturday morning. Okay, a Saturday morning TV show. I think that's a very salient and important point. And on this particular TV show, as he says, they had a clairvoyant.
And they decided to have a clairvoyant on today. A clairvoyant or psychic, or as we all know what that means, fraud.
No, wait a second. Alright, it's a Saturday morning TV show. It's an entertainment show. Alright, it's there predominantly for recreation, pleasure, escapism. That's its primary function. And so you're saying that this person is on this TV show and they're giving people escapism and some recreation, and there's a bit of mystery about it, and you're calling that fraud. This is an entertainment service, okay, being provided on an entertainment show. There is no fraud, because it's an entertainment service being provided on an entertainment show. Are you kind of with me there? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Have you got that in perspective? He then goes on to talk about reading minds and telling the future.
But you cannot read minds, you cannot tell the future.
Everyone is a mind reader. Absolutely everybody is a mind reader, because you're always trying to work out what's in everybody else's mind, and often you get it right and sometimes you get it wrong. But everyone does that. And as far as telling the future is concerned, if you know enough about a situation and you see someone who is making a mistake, you know that they're going to have some problems. Often that particular individual will not necessarily be able to see where the problems really are, but if you know they're making a mistake, then essentially you can tell them that something bad's going to happen. And then it just depends upon how you do it that makes you a useful service provider or a useless service provider.
Even meteorologists can't really tell the future. They're speculating based on computer models.
Okay, meteorologists. They do more or less what we do. That's right. They use a set of patterns and an analysis of the situation the way it stands at the moment, and they try and provide a guesstimate as to what's going to happen in the future. And you can tell an awful lot about a person by their tone of voice, their body language, their demeanor, and if you've got some kind of education behind you which can help you to understand these things even more, then basically the more the merrier. That education can happen in a number of different ways, one from university and another from mythology or religion. And essentially that's what we do.
And she just gives the most general, vague answers.
Alright, now, do you actually think it's a good idea for people to think for themselves, or do you think it's a good idea for people to have someone else do all the thinking for them? Come on, tell me. I don't think it's right to sit on my arse and tell someone precisely what to think. I think it's a good idea to give people the opportunity to be able to think about their life in a different way. I think it's a good idea to give people the opportunity to have a conversation with someone, to bounce some ideas forwards and backwards. Yes, but I don't think that I should say, you must do this or you must do that. I don't think that's appropriate. There are some situations in which one needs to be a little more direct with someone, just as if your friend's about to drive a car off a cliff. It's good to say stop, but to the most part, I'm supposed to be here to help people to think for themselves. And that is actually a good thing. And yes, that does involve me being vague. And if you can't handle that, well, I'm terribly sorry.
But it doesn't matter because you're so fucking vague that it doesn't even make a difference if she's wrong.
To a certain extent, it doesn't make a difference even if we're wrong. We're providing a service, and the service is a variety of conversation with someone who is not one of your friends, not a member of your family, not an employer, an employee, or a colleague, and not someone you'll have some form of social embarrassment in dealing with. This is a variety of counselling service, often cheaper than counselling, and it can actually provide some help to people just as a result of conversation. There are a wide variety of different types of readings, and some varieties of clients actually prefer to call for entertainment. Some deliberately call for escapism and tell me they're calling for escapism, and I provide them with it. And yes, it doesn't always matter if I'm wrong. It often doesn't matter if I'm wrong. And that's neither here nor there. What is important is the fact that a conversation occurs that the clients can participate in, so that they can take a moment to chill out, relax, and think about life. And that is a useful service. And yes, this is a form of unofficial counseling, but it's good.
If somebody is claiming that they're a psychic, you have one of two options, and maybe this is a false dichotomy, but it seems kind of clear to me.
Really? Is that all? I'll tell you a few options. Number one, the individual could have had some strange experiences in their life which make them think that there is something more to life than just a physical existence. Number two, they have a desire to try and help someone by the power of conversation. Number three, they are skilled entertainers. Number four, they are great performers who want to be able to make people happy. That's all, just make people happy. And yes, there are some people who are overly theologically driven and have a few too many beliefs. And there are those people who are genuinely deluded. But those are not the majority. And as far as quackery is concerned, well, you get quackery in every possible industry. I worked at one time for an accountant who couldn't even write, and I got out because it was too unethical. You see, fraud and unethical behavior is in every possible industry, even in the government. And yes, that's a bad thing, and it is up to the individual to try and be the best they can. And I would say that longevity within this industry actually relies upon a certain quantity of morality and common decency, and as well as a strong desire to try and help people. I hear stories of anything from your standard relationship breakups, right on crime, murder, rape, you name it. All of the dark side of the street, which you don't see in your normal life, comes to me. Now, you raised lots of other points in your video, and if I could be bothered, maybe I'll start tackling them. But I don't think that there is an industry in the whole wide world that everyone feels comfortable with, or there is a service in the whole wide world that everyone feels comfortable with. And if you don't feel comfortable with this one, well, you've got a right to voice your opinion, and I will support you in that right. However, you are actually wrong. This has been Nick Dutch, signing out for now.